Wholesaling real estate is the perfect investment strategy for many aspiring investors in Colorado. The process is straightforward. Find deeply discounted properties, secure them under contract, and then sell that contract to another buyer, typically a real estate investor, at a higher price. In this video, I'm going to give you a detailed overview on how to wholesale real estate in Colorado, and I'm going to cover the essential steps, the legal considerations, the market insights, the steps to succeed, and then all the resources you need to get started today. And don't forget to download and grab our state-by-state guide on how to wholesale real estate in the description down below. So what is wholesaling real estate? Wholesaling real estate is a strategy where an investor secures the rights to purchase a property and then sells those rights to another buyer for a profit. And this approach is commonly called the assignment of contract strategy. Now here's how it works. Imagine you find a property worth $550,000 and you negotiate a purchase agreement with the seller for $520,000. Now, instead of buying the property yourself, you simply get the property under contract and then assign those contract rights to another buyer for a fee, let's say $10,000. So the new buyer actually pays the seller $520,000, which is the amount you put the property under contract for, and then you receive a $10,000 assignment fee. So the seller gets the price they want, you get your assignment fee, and the new buyer gets a flipping project with a profit margin they're more than happy to work with, and everyone wins. And that's it. That's how wholesaling real estate works in Colorado. So let's dive into how to wholesale real estate in Colorado step by step. Step number one is picking your real estate market. Now, a lot of people get started in wholesaling real estate and want to virtually wholesale houses in a market halfway across the country. While it's possible, it's not exactly what we recommend. What we recommend is actually starting in your local market. So if you're actually located in Colorado Springs, then start there, because being local gives you an advantage. You get to know the neighborhoods, you get to drive properties, you get to meet with real estate agents and sellers when you need to. And knowing your local market lets you spot the areas that are growing. And you know that the neighborhoods with high rental demand, or the places that are seeing new development that are growing. And this insight helps you find better deals and avoid properties that may be tougher to sell. So we recommend picking your market and starting in whatever city or county you're already in. Now, step two is finding 3 to 5 quality local cash buyers that you can actually wholesale your deals to. Now, cash buyers are real estate investors, typically fix and flippers, who buy multiple deals per month and are eager to work with wholesalers. Now, we recommend identifying these cash buyers first so you know the exact types of deals they're looking for and the specific areas that they like to buy in. For example, some cash buyers may only want to invest in Fort Collins, while others might want to focus on cities like Boulder or Aurora. And by finding active cash buyers in your area, you're going to increase your chances of success and can actually maximize your wholesale fee potential. Well, one effective method that we use and that we've coined, it's called the Google Ninja trick. So let's say you're based in Denver and you want to find cash buyers in that area. What you need to do is go to Google and type in "Sell My House Fast, Denver, Colorado." Now in the search results, you'll see real estate investors who have optimized their websites to rank for these specific keywords. And these investors are more than likely active cash buyers interested in connecting with wholesalers, and also what they're looking for are motivated sellers. So these investors, or better yet, these cash buyers, are constantly looking for motivated sellers who want to sell quickly. So we approach this angle, this Google search, as if we're a motivated seller ourselves. And then by doing this, you can easily locate actual cash buyers online easily and efficiently from your computer. And this strategy doesn't take hours. In fact, it can often just take a few minutes in order to find buyers in Colorado. Now, another effective way to find cash buyers in Colorado is through Craigslist. All you need to do is go to Craigslist.org, select your city, so let's say Denver again, and then type in "Sell My House for Cash" or "Buy My House," and you're going to start to see advertisements for cash buyers actively looking for sellers. Now from there, browse these ads to find the contact information like emails and phone numbers of the cash buyers in your area that are interested in buying your wholesale deals. These cash buyers are always on the lookout for opportunities, which means when you approach them, when you reach out to them, they will appreciate the value you bring by finding properties at a discount for them. So begin building these relationships now. You won't regret it. And what it will do is it will set you up to succeed in the future because you already have your end plan in mind. You already know who you're going to wholesale your deals to because you've lined up your cash buyers. So once you've done this, you're ready for the next step. Step 3 is finding deals on the MLS. So the MLS stands for the Multiple Listing Service, and this is a database of all available listings in your area. So all the houses for sale, and it's an invaluable tool for locating properties that you can wholesale all over Colorado. And I'll cover a few strategies that we like to use to identify potential wholesale deals while using the MLS. First up is what we call the Day Zero strategy. With this approach, you check for new listings that have come onto your market within the last 24 hours. So let's say there are 60 new listings, you then narrow it down to focus on the most distressed ones. So there might be 5 or 12 that fit this criteria, and these are the ones that you actually want to focus on. And we love this strategy because these properties are recently listed and often need to sell very quickly. And a lot of times they require a cash offer, which tilts the scale even more in our favor when we're wholesaling real estate. Now, being among the first to act on these listings increases your chances of securing a property under contract before other investors can get involved in the deal. So if you can be first to the punch, you might just lock down a great wholesale deal. And over the years, we've secured dozens and dozens of properties under contract simply because we were the first ones to the punch, we were the first ones to call on a deal and present an offer that both the agent and the seller liked. These are properties that have been sitting on the market for more than 90 days. So after sitting on the market for more than 90 days and not being sold, sellers are way more open to negotiation. And this makes it a great opportunity for us wholesalers. So for instance, you might find a distressed property on the MLS in Colorado that's been listed at $400,000, but hasn't moved for 4 months. Well, over time, the seller may be willing to reduce that price to $350,000 due to new circumstances or not being able to move the property, right? And they might be more motivated. Or perhaps there was a legal issue, maybe they're going through some sort of litigation or a divorce that needed to be settled, and now it's been resolved, and now they're ready to move forward. They just need some time, right? And that's why it was sitting. So this strategy helps you to find motivated sellers who are likely to accept more favorable terms. So be sure to target those old listings and investigate those underlying issues. See what the problem is, and then be that solutions provider. Because we've seen it time and time again, when you can help a seller out, when you can provide solutions, when you can be creative, you're going to increase your chances of getting that deal under contract and being able to wholesale it. Now, the third strategy for finding deals on the MLS is keyword searches. This involves typing in specific keywords that real estate agents use in the property description to signal that a property might be distressed. This involves typing in specific keywords that real estate agents use in the property description to signal that a property might be distressed. So try searching for terms like contractor special, or cash only, or diamond in the rough. And the MLS search algorithm will then begin to pull up listings with these keywords, making it easier for you to identify potential wholesale deals that may need some TLC and that are probably perfect for an investor, which is exactly what we want. Now for step 4 for wholesaling in Colorado, which is reaching out to real estate agents who represent the properties you've identified on the MLS. So now it's time to call the actual real estate agent who's in charge of handling the deal. Fortunately, one of the great benefits of using the MLS is that it usually includes the agent's contact information, like their phone number and their direct email. So it makes it very simple to reach out. Now, when you speak to the agent, your goal is to confirm that this property is truly distressed and suitable for a real estate investor. Now, keep in mind, we only want to focus on properties that are in need of repairs and updates and where the seller might be motivated to sell quickly due to their situation. And sometimes the property description won't directly indicate if the seller's in a distressed situation. However, it's pretty easy to get this information if you actually call the real estate agent and ask questions during your conversation. So this is why it's essential to give this agent a phone call and gather as much information as you can. And don't hesitate to ask questions that can help you understand the seller's motivation, right? Why are they looking to sell? And then the property's condition as well. During this call, you're going to want to gather as many details as possible. So what kind of renovations are needed? Are there any unique features that make this property stand out? And then what does the agent think that this property could sell for in its best possible condition? And this initial conversation that we have with the agent, this is what we call the discovery call, because we're uncovering everything that we can about the deal that's going to help us create a stronger offer on it. Now, once we have all the essential information from this call, we're ready to dive into the next step, which is analyzing the deal. Now in step 5, it's time to run the numbers. This is where we figure out if this property has real potential as a solid wholesale deal in Colorado. First, we need to find the ARV, which is the after repair value. This is the estimated market value once the property is fully repaired and upgraded. Next, we need to figure out the repair cost, which is the actual repair amount, the renovation costs it will take to get this property in its best possible condition, or what we call the after repair value. Then we need to set our wholesale fee. And what we always like to aim for is at least $10,000, which is fair compensation for the work of finding, analyzing, and assigning a deal. Now, sometimes we make more, sometimes we make less, but $10,000 is a great starting point. Now, from there, we determine the purchase price. And this is the offer that you actually make the seller to get the property under contract. Now, a popular formula to calculate the maximum offer price that you want to send is called the MAO formula, maximum allowable offer. And what you do with this is you get the ARV, you multiply it by 70%, then you minus your repair costs, then you minus your wholesale fee. So let me break this down. For example, let's say the ARV of this property you're pursuing is $500,000, multiply that by 70%, and that's going to give you $350,000. Next, subtract the estimated repair costs. Let's say it's at $30,000, subtract that by $350,000 now you're at $320,000. From there, we need to subtract our wholesale fee, and let's say it's $12,000 this time. That will leave you with $308,000 as your maximum allowable offer. Now, this formula is a quick rule of thumb, and if you want to be more competitive, you might want to consider using 80% of the ARV instead of 70%. And what this will allow you to do is offer at a higher price, giving you an edge over the other investors and the competition while still leaving room for good profit margin. Now, with our companies, every wholesale and flip deal that we do, we use our deal calculator. We don't use any simple math, paper napkin math. And if you want to give this calculator a try, go to realestateskills.com/calculator and you'll be able to use it for all your wholesale and flip deals in Colorado. Now for step 6, once you've analyzed the deal, it's time to submit offers and start negotiating. So this step is crucial. After all, you can't lock down a deal. You can't get a deal under contract unless you submit a professional offer. So for instance, if we're pursuing a property where the seller needs to move very quickly, you don't want to send an offer with a 60-day closing time frame, right? A long time frame like that typically won't work for a motivated seller. Now also be sure to use terms that agents expect to see from serious investors, and we're going to cover some of those terms in just a minute. And then be sure to submit solid and clean offers. What I mean by that is an offer with minimal contingencies or only one contingency, right? We like to send offers with only one contingency, which is an inspection contingency, and you want to make that as low as you can. Now, if you're a beginner, you're just starting out, you want at least a 7-day inspection contingency period. And then we also recommend having a quick closing time frame, such as 14 days or sooner. And here's why knowing this is all very key. For many sellers in a distressed situation, they usually have a quick closing timeline. And so in order to stop a foreclosure sale, we might have to close on the house in 7 days. They may need to move within 20 days for a new job, sell this house very quickly so they can go buy a new house. There's a lot of reasons why, but typically when we're pursuing houses to wholesale, we'll need these quick closing timelines. Now, additionally, keep in mind that most offers will require an EMD. This is one of the terms I was talking about. EMD stands for earnest money deposit. And this is a good faith deposit that shows you're serious about the deal. Typically, once you get an offer accepted, this is due within 72 hours. And these deposits can really range, but typically they're between $500 to $10,000, depending on where you're at and what market you're in. And often this deposit is refundable, but always be sure to check your contract to confirm this. And the contract is always the law of the land, so be sure to read your contract and really understand what's in there. Now, if you'd like to access our contracts for wholesaling real estate in Colorado, you can actually download them at realestateskills.com/contracts, so be sure to grab those. And then here's also an important pro tip if you're just starting to wholesale real estate in Colorado. We always want to minimize risk and eliminate risks. This inspection period and contingency gives you time to inspect the property and make sure it's a good fit. If you're just starting out, I recommend 7 days. And it also provides a way to back out of the contract if something comes up that wasn't anticipated, or even if you can't find a buyer to buy the property. Additionally, as a general guideline, aim for a 14-day close or sooner on each and every contract if you want them to be desirable. But keep in mind, if the seller needs more time, such as 60 days to close, Don't have a 14-day close. Adjust your terms, adjust your closing date to accommodate the seller so that they feel comfortable working with you. Being flexible, being a solutions provider is important in real estate. And when you can change your closing terms and additional other terms in your contract, this will make your offer stand out and show that you're willing to go the extra mile when other people aren't. Now, to keep things professional and credible when submitting offers, always include a proof of funds letter with every single offer. This is a document that shows you actually have access to the funds and the financial ability to purchase this property that you're sending an offer on. And without this, you will not be taken seriously. Now, you can actually obtain a proof of funds from different types of lenders, such as a hard money lender or private money lender. And having this document, once again, is absolutely critical if you want your offers accepted. Now, if you want a guide on actually how to obtain a proof of funds, just go to realestateskills.com/proof, and I'll show you 2 easy ways to get a proof of funds instantly so you can wholesale and fix and flip. Now let's move on to step 7. And honestly, this is my favorite part. This is closing the deal. This is the stage of the transaction where ownership officially transfers from the seller to the buyer, and when you assign the contract rights to the buyer. This is also when you'll receive your wholesale fee for completing the deal and assign the contract. Now, the closing process involves working very closely with title and escrow companies, and this is to ensure that all paperwork, everything that's in the contract is followed to the T. And these companies play a very important role, and they verify that everything that is going to happen is going to be a smooth transaction. That's always the goal when working with these companies. It's not always the case, but that's their job, right? They need to make sure that everything follows along. We want to close on time, but keep in mind, sometimes delays happen, right? If we're supposed to close on a Friday, there can be missing documentation, and the close date can actually be extended to the next week. That's okay, that happens a lot. But no, working closely with title and escrow, being responsive to them is going to help you close deals faster and on time. Now, when you're just starting out, you might not know which escrow companies or title companies to work with and which are best for wholesaling real estate. What I recommend when you're starting out, whatever agent you're working with, ask if they have recommendations. That's always best because they're comfortable with these companies already, and just start there. Now, over time, as you complete more deals, you'll be able to find a few escrow and title companies that you actually prefer to work with and that you can actually suggest that you work with them and put them in the contract to even streamline your closing process even more and make all future transactions even smoother. And that's it. That's how we wholesale real estate in Colorado. So if this sounds too good to be true, I want to tell you it's not. In fact, a lot of people come to us asking, is wholesaling real estate legal in Colorado? And the answer is yes. Wholesaling is legal in Colorado as long as you comply with state laws and regulations. Now, the key distinction to understand when wholesaling real estate is the difference between being a wholesaler and a real estate agent. As a wholesaler, you're not actually selling the property itself. Rather, you're selling the contract rights to buy that property, right? You're not selling the property, you're selling the contract rights to buy the property. And then you're transferring those contract rights to that cash buyer, the end buyer, which is known as the equitable interest in the contract. And you get paid for transferring those contract rights to the end buyer. So in Colorado, you don't need a real estate license to wholesale because you're only selling contract rights, and you do not need a license to sell contract rights. However, if you were to want to sell an actual property or represent a buyer or seller as a real estate agent in a transaction, then you need a real estate license. Then you need to be a real estate agent. So this distinction is very important to understand because to wholesale legally in Colorado, you have to make sure that you are selling the contract rights. Now, additionally, when marketing this actual deal, what you need to do is market that you're selling a contract. You're marketing the equitable interest and not the property itself, right? Agents are supposed to market properties. You need to be licensed to market properties. As a wholesaler, you don't need to be licensed to market the equitable interest in a contract. So keep that in mind. And it's important to keep in mind, especially on the advertising of property without ownership of it or without a real estate license, because this can be considered unauthorized brokerage activity, which can then lead to penalties or fines from the Colorado Division of Real Estate. So by making this proper distinction, you ensure that you're operating within legal boundaries and respecting the rules defined by Colorado's real estate regulations. And now that you know it's perfectly legal to wholesale real estate in Colorado, here are 3 tips to help increase your chances of success. Tip number 1 is to use the MLS to find distressed properties and sellers in distressed situations. So when using the MLS, the goal is to identify properties that have that deferred maintenance, the ones that are outdated, the ones that need actual repairs and upgrades. And so we're talking about homes that are stuck in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s that haven't been updated for a long time. And you can tell just by looking at it. Now, these types of properties are often way more attractive for investors because they're typically priced lower and present opportunities as profitable renovations and flips. Those are the exact types of deals we're looking for as cash buyers. And some examples of major repairs could be cracked slabs in the house. And so you got to do a whole foundation repair. The house could be already gutted, right? No one can live in there. And so you got to go do a bunch of work. There could be fire damage, holes in the roof, right? The list goes on and on. And these types of properties need to be purchased with all cash. And why is that? Because properties in this kind of distressed condition, a bank typically won't give traditional bank financing. They typically won't lend a mortgage on this type of property because it needs extensive repairs. It's too risky for a bank to lend on it. So this makes these types of properties great opportunities for wholesalers and cash investors that want to buy them as fix and flip deals. Additionally, these properties are generally less attractive to normal home buyers because they don't have the expertise to actually renovate the properties and they don't have access to the type of financing that can buy these properties. So it makes it perfect for us wholesalers because now we're not competing with other homeowners. We're only competing with other investors. Now, as for distressed situations that a seller could be going through, this could be a death in the family and now the property's in a trust and there's 5 siblings that have to sell this property, right? They want to sell this property immediately, they're fighting and they just want to get rid of it. It could be different financial pressures, like someone has lost their job and they need to move very quickly or they're going to have to foreclose on the house. And it could be as simple as a situation of this person just absolutely hates where they live and they just want to get the heck out of there. There's bad memories in the property. Maybe there's a lot of crime in the area. So the list goes on and on and on. And each of these situations, what it does is it presents an opportunity for wholesalers to be able to get these deals under contract. Now, what most new wholesalers do is that they don't actually target distressed properties. What they do is they end up going after homes that are move-in ready, that are retail, that a normal home buyer can actually buy, they can get traditional bank financing on. And what happens is people are going to be emotional when buying these types of properties, right? Because they can envision their children playing in the front yard. They're going to bid way higher on these properties. You're not going to have a competitive offer as a wholesaler. So that's why we don't target properties that are beautiful. You want to target distressed properties and sellers that are in distressed situations because that's how you're going to get great deals. Now let's go into tip number 2, which is to focus on properties with an active status on the MLS. So on the MLS, properties can have different statuses such as contingent, pending, sold, expired, withdrawn, and canceled. And as wholesalers, we need to be targeting active listings because these are the properties that are currently for sale. They're actively for sale on the market, which gives you the best chance of getting them under contract. Many new wholesalers pursue properties that are pending or contingent. And what that means is those properties are already under contract. And let me tell you, it's much harder to get a property under contract that's already under contract than one that's not under contract. So that's why you want to pursue properties that are active because those are the ones that have a higher likelihood of going under contract. That's the goal of the seller and that's our goal as well. So in order to maximize your chances of finding successful wholesale deals and getting them under contract, pursue active properties. Now, tip number 3, this is my favorite and the most important, is to track written offers as your most important key performance indicator or KPI. So what exactly counts as an offer sent when you're serious about wholesaling real estate in Colorado? And here's where a lot of new wholesalers and even some experienced investors get it wrong. They think that just sending a text message or leaving a voicemail or giving a verbal offer over the phone counts as submitting an offer. But in our book, an offer truly isn't real unless it's in writing and it's sent to the agent, right? A real offer is when the listing agent sends you the written contract, usually via email, you sign it and you send it back to them. That's what we consider an offer sent. And tracking these written offers is so vital to your success. because this is the most important KPI, and this is where a lot of people struggle. They're not sending enough written offers or any written offers. Now, what happens when you submit a written offer to an agent, that agent has a fiduciary responsibility to actually present that offer to their seller. They're obligated to do that. And at that point, in order to get the property under contract, which is your goal as a wholesaler, all the seller needs to do is sign that contract, and then the property is binding. Then the contract's binding, and then you can move forward with the wholesale process. So it's that simple. So where people think that, hey, I can make a phone call and say, hey, I want to offer $200,000, or what's more serious, a contract, a written offer in the email inbox of the agent that says $200,000 on it with all of your terms on there, so the seller can just sign it and then you have the property under contract. That is way more serious than a verbal offer, and that's why you want to focus on written offers and why you need to track that KPI. So make it a habit to track each and every offer you send, and if you want to be serious at wholesaling, I recommend submitting at least 3 to 5 offers a day, but if you're just starting out, focus on 1 offer a day, and you're gonna be able to see some serious success and momentum in Colorado. And there you have it. That's how we wholesale in Colorado. And if you're interested in not only wholesaling, but also learning on how to fix and flip real estate and also buy rental property in order to build wealth and get passive income, then be sure to check out my webinar I do every week at realestateskills.com/webinar. And this webinar is gonna be a great time. In this webinar, I'm gonna cover number 1, how to spot lucrative deals in any market. Number 2, strategies to invest with little to no money down. I'm going to share the types of lenders that we love using. And then number 3, ways to generate both an active and passive income through real estate. So wholesaling and flipping real estate is phenomenal. We love doing it, but we love reinvesting our profits back into real estate to get a passive income. And that's my goal for each and every one of you. So thank you for watching. I'll see you at the webinar. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you know anyone interested in wholesaling real estate in Colorado, please share this video with them if you found it helpful. Lastly, don't forget to check out the wealth of resources we have in the description and also at realestateskills.com. I'll see you in the next video. This is Alex Martinez. Take care.